Hello, friends and clients of JLW Immigration Law Group. I am Jennifer Walker Gates, immigration attorney, and I am here today to share some good news, some bad news, updates that impact the immigrant community, and answer questions. Hopefully, we'll have some people joining us with questions, concerns, thoughts, comments. We welcome you to bring those to us anytime we're here live. We are also adding to our YouTube channel on a weekly basis about things that impact the immigrant community, updates. There's going to be a lot of updates coming soon because we are less than a week away from a change of presidential administrations. And I am sure that on day one of the next administration, we will be seeing a lot of new policies, procedures, and intentions coming out of the new executive branch. So we'll see how that goes. We will definitely be taking all that in, digesting it, and sharing it with you all as best as possible in the coming weeks. Today, I'm going to start with talking about the Laken Riley Act. The Laken Riley Act is a proposal that is about to be voted on in the Senate. It's already been passed by the House with full unanimous Republican support and the support of some Democrats. And it's taken a really tragic situation and turned it into an even bigger tragedy, in my opinion. And in the opinion of all of us who advocate for immigrants, we are opposed to the Laken Riley Act, not because we are monsters who want that situation to happen again, but because this bill will not protect our communities. The Laken Riley was a young woman in Georgia who was tragically killed by an immigrant, and a person from Venezuela. I believe he was undocumented is what I've read. I don't know if that means that he had anything in process, a TPS application, an asylum application, if he had any kind of TPS benefits or anything like that. The thing about the news and so many people is that there are so many subtleties and different types of status that a person can have that they just get lumped into this illegal category. And that is really inaccurate and very misleading. So the truth is, I don't know what this person's status was. The truth is, whatever it was, he had contact with ICE, with DHS on a number of times, and he wasn't detained. That's true of millions of people every year, literally millions of people every year. This one individual then went and committed a murder and rape against a young woman who, of course, did not deserve that. It is tragic and terrible, and I cannot imagine what her family must have gone through. And I so wish that guy had never come to the United States. I so wish he had never been through whatever it was he went through to make him into the kind of psychotic person who would do something like that. But the fact is that millions of people are encountered by ICE and released every year. And if one person or a small, very tiny percentage of those people do bad things, it does not mean that every single person in that category needs to be punished. The individuals responsible need to be punished. What the Laken Riley Act is trying to do is make people subject to mandatory detention for being accused of something like shoplifting, for being accused of any kind of theft, crime, mandatory detention for those people until their immigration cases are resolved, including lawful permanent residents, including millions of people who are mistakenly arrested. It's very broad. It's going to just be this huge net that captures all these people that don't need to be detained all the time. What ICE has in fact said about this is that if that law were to take effect and they were to detain everyone accused of shoplifting, for example, They would not have detention space to continue to hold people who are very real security risks, people with known gang contacts, people with known cartel contacts. Those people sometimes get detained and they don't have a conviction, but they're detained because they're a security threat. Whereas someone accused of shoplifting typically is not going to be a real security threat. So this bill really misses the mark in terms of making us safer. The other thing that this bill does that will destabilize our immigration system even further is it gives states the right to sue and block programs that they don't like. So states like Texas can decide, I don't like this parole program for Venezuela. I'm going to sue and block the parole program for Venezuela. Or I don't like DACA, so I'm going to try to sue and block DACA in my state. It is going to be very chaotic. It's going to create a patchwork of different immigration situations across the United States. And it is not what the Constitution intended. The Constitution is very clear that immigration shall be controlled by the federal government, not by states in the United States. So for those reasons, we're very much opposed to the Laken Riley Act. It is not going to accomplish what it's alleging to accomplish. They've attached this young woman's name to this piece of legislation that then ends up causing additional harm and suffering to our communities, which is very tragic. So we're asking our community to please contact lawmakers. Let them know you are not in support of the Laken Riley Act, that it does not help keep our communities safer. And what we really need is immigration reform that allows us to bring people out of the shadows who are really trustworthy and good people who want to contribute to our communities, and focus our enforcement resources on individuals who are actually dangerous. If we were better able to do that, if our Border Patrol agents weren't having to focus on families and babies and, people who are just simply seeking safety, and instead could focus exclusively on cartels, then a bunch of the fentanyl that's coming into the United States would be blocked. A bunch of the problems that we have in the United States that are caused by criminals who come across the border, who are really very few and far between. If our agents could focus all their resources on those people instead of innocent, well-meaning families who are seeking security, that's the way that our immigration system needs to be reformed. Laken Riley is doing the opposite. It's punishing a whole bunch of really, minor offenders or people who haven't even committed an offense but have been accused of it, who have been racially profiled for it, who have been reported falsely for being an immigrant in the United States. Our law enforcement resources will be focused on those people and not the people that they really need to be looking at. So please call your senators. Please call them and tell them that you oppose Laken Riley. It needs to be reformed. That law needs to be fixed before it's passed. And that is the bad news for this week. We're seeing already, even before Trump is even taking office, new laws and proposals aimed at our communities. And we need to stand up. We need to say, no, we don't support this. This is a bad idea. And let especially our Democratic representatives and senators know that they should not support this bill. The good news is that in the last week of his administration, Joe Biden has extended TPS, temporary protected status, for 4 countries: Sudan, Venezuela, Ukraine, and El Salvador. So those individuals who have temporary protected status from El Salvador, Venezuela, Ukraine, and Sudan, you are going to be able to file for an additional 18 months of protection under that new extension. That is great news for a whole bunch of folks who are going to need security over the next 18 months. And so I will finish up my update on a high note. So people who have TPS from those countries, it's going to be important to pay attention to deadlines and dates. I will look at that. I believe it's April 20th when you can begin to submit your renewal. Let's see. Yes, April 20th. Or I think you can file before April 20th for the extension. I need to work out those details more clearly. I apologize that I don't have them right off the top of my head, but very soon it's going to be time to file your renewal. So please get that ready. Your I-821, your I-765s, get those ready to go. Get them submitted and get your TPS extended. That's going to be really important. Another thing I want to say about these kinds of extensions that we see a lot for a lot of different types of cases. For example, if you are an applicant for asylum and you have a work permit, you submit for a new work permit and you get a receipt notice. That receipt notice will say that your work permit is automatically extended for a certain number of months past its expiration date. It's very important to file the renewal before you get to the expiration date, but as long as you do, you're in the clear. That receipt notice that says your work permit is automatically extended is legal proof of your authorization to work. Employers are obligated to treat that receipt notice just like they would a new card. They are not allowed to say, oh, we prefer the card, so we're just going to fire you since you don't have the new card yet. No, that is not how it works. That can be a basis for a lawsuit for immigration-based discrimination. And employers need to understand that those extension notices are legal proof of your authorization to work. You are not waiting on work authorization when you have one of those. You are work authorized already. You're just waiting on that card. Your work authorization never goes away. So if you are in a situation where your employer is saying, well, we don't want this, we want the card, please reach out to us. We are happy to help keep employers abreast and informed of their rights and responsibilities, as well as our clients. And, you know, our clients work very hard. Their jobs are very important. They make a huge contribution to the economy of Texas and the billions of dollars a year, and across the United States as well. So if you are facing a situation where your employer doesn't want to accept your extension letter, please let us know. We'll be happy to help you with that. And with that, I am going to sign off. I hope everyone has had a good week since we were here last. Please join us again next Wednesday at noon. We will have a lot of updates for based on new executive orders. We will be in the process still of reading and digesting those, but we will definitely have updates on some of the most important, biggest, most impactful executive orders that we expect to be issued. So Wednesdays at noon, we are here to share information, to answer your questions. Please share this video on your profile. Send it to friends that you think could benefit, loved ones that you think could benefit. We also speak Spanish, so anytime you want to watch and speak Spanish, drop us a question in Spanish. We welcome you to do that. Take good care, be safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.